Hello everyone, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and unfortunately, I'm not able to make good on the promise that I made last week, which was that we would be doing a $200 giveaway. Instead, you're going to have to wait until the anniversary show, or until the 100 episode show, which, if you're canonically paying attention, if you've canonically been paying attention, or for that matter, continuously been keeping track of the episodes like I have, this is episode 73. My name is Mocha. Oh, and if you could, because I guess I feel sorry for him a little bit, why don't you go check out the Late Night Wrestling Pod? And I would plug all of his social medias, but it's pretty much the same. All you have to do is look up Late Night Wrestling Pod, and you're bound to find him. Also, I seen a sticker today, as I was, like the last 10 minutes, the last 12 minutes of my job over at the Walmart, I seen a sticker on the side of a vehicle. It made me think of him. So, the sticker on the side of the vehicle said, "Let's go Brandon." But obviously it's talking about, some NASCAR driver somewhere. NASCAR. That right there is a gentleman's sport, you know what I'm saying? Whole bunch of NASCAR. Do you know where the term NASCAR actually originated from, though? Neighbor looked at his buddy and then he said, "Hey man, that's a NASCAR you got there." He was probably from Kentucky, but, I mean, the worst we've got here is like, man eating clams. And yes, I am diverting from the previous point that I just got done making. I wanted to do a $50 giveaway, but after contemplating it, and then after looking at my books, I figured out that I cannot afford a $50 giveaway either. Unfortunately, I'm literally living paycheck to paycheck, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 73 of the Gut Wrench Podcast. My name is Mocha, and in today's episode, well, believe it or not, it's actually close to WrestleMania time. And WWE wants you to believe that WrestleMania is this big extravaganza, but it's not. If anything, it's overbooked, it's overplayed, it's overreacted, overrated is what I say. That's what WrestleMania is. Because, literally, so, I guess I'm going to have to go on this whole spiel again, but I'll try to make it fast. Because we've got a show to cover, believe it or not. WWE Fastlane 2017. But, so, WrestleMania isn't this big extravaganza that they make it out to be. If anything, they just put their matches together willy-nilly without even thinking about, long-term booking. Had Cody Rhodes not come back from AEW to WWE, because they should have never fired him in the first place. They should have never gave him his walking papers and said, "Hey, Cody, we're... that is right, you're the son of what's his name?" And then they're sitting there trying to... guys, it's the son of the wrestling legend. And then everybody's in the office, and then they're like, "Oh man, what's his father's name? Oh no, this is so embarrassing." And then they're like, Dusty, that is right, I named my dog Dusty. And then they're just like, of course, I should have had a V8. This podcast is not sponsored by V8. But anyway, they're sitting there and then they're like, so how you doing since Dusty died? We forgot. You're the dang person, the dang youngest son of Dusty Rhodes. I mean, okay. Yeah, they forgot, you know? And of course, you know, there's that whole gold dust thing, you know. Psh, I mean, we forgot about him too, didn't we? But WWE wants you to like I said, what exactly would have been the plan for Roman Reigns had Cody Rhodes just stayed in AEW? Had Cody Rhodes decided, you know what? I'm okay with being an executive in AEW because he was doing a damn good job at it. He was doing a wonderful job as an executive in AEW, but little voice got inside Cody's head and it told him that he misses being a performer. And even though he was a performer in AEW, it's almost like whenever you're an executive there and you're a performer, it's kind of like people look at you differently because maybe you're pushing your own, you know, your own title push instead of someone back there who's an executive but not a performer looking at Cody and saying something like, oh, shit, I mean, he's been working hard. Why don't we, you know, strap a rocket to him and, you know, get his merchandise sales up and make Cody Rhodes the next big thing. And I don't mean the next big, you know, Brock Lesnar, you know, because Brock Lesnar was the next big thing in his rookie year. But nonetheless, that's neither here nor there, and I guess I've spent too much time talking about it. But you know, it's kind of difficult to be both the head writer. You know, if you're a head writer of anything, and also to be like the one of the top talents of the. It's okay to write a movie and star in it. Let's just put it that way. But it's kind of a different story whenever it's a sports competition, you know, and everybody wants their spot. Everybody, as a matter of fact, wants your spot, you know. They just don't want their spot, but they want your spot, especially if your spot is number one. But nonetheless, once again, WWE Fastlane 2017. And as Michael Cole says, we're on the fast lane to WrestleMania. We're less than 2 weeks away from WrestleMania from this date. I do apologize that this episode is going up on a Monday. It should have went up on Saturday. However, I had a routine, and that was to come home, go to sleep, because work is killing me. Literally killing me. I get no time to myself. I hate it. But it's fine. It's cool. My personal problems aren't your problems, and you're probably not here to hear me, you know, drone on and on and on about how terrible Walmart is, and about how terrible the working conditions are, and about how terrible I have to wake up in the morning like, oh. No one wants to hear that. It's no one's problem. And no one can relate unless they work, you know, a 9 to 5, and they don't get any time to themselves. And if they're looking at their phone for, you know, 2 seconds and their manager happens to see them, it's, what are you doing? How come you're not working? It's like, Jesus, lady, I'm just trying to build a following. Could you give me a minute? Jesus, I just got here. WWE Fastlane 2017, as now a lot of you are going to be a little bit confused here because there was a promise that I did make a long time ago, back in 2017 as a matter of fact. Whenever I started my YouTube channel, whenever I said that I would never look at a Sami Zayn match or a Kevin Owens match. Well, unfortunately, I won't say unfortunately, no. Because I found a workaround rather, and that workaround has to do with the fact that today we're not going to be exactly looking at Sami Zayn's performance or Kevin Owens' performance, because their performance is that of no performance at all. Believe it or not, both of them lose their matches. Kevin Owens loses his in record time. I hate to give away the main event, but let's just focus on their opponents, Samoa Joe and Goldberg. But for now, let's look at Samoa Joe. Olay chants keeping El Generico relevant, despite El Generico being irrelevant since 2001. The point that I'm making here is that Sami Zayn's most, I put this in air quotes, most entertaining gimmick that was relevant in 2002 or 2001 is keeping him relevant today. Nothing that he is doing in the current time period of 2017 is keeping him relevant. He's all sizzle and no steak. He's all bark and no bite. And by the way, the WrestleMania match hasn't even started yet. Oh, the wrestling match, rather. I didn't mean to say. I read that wrong. This rivalry started by Joe saying he wasn't a, quote, Sami Zayn. He's not satisfied by just being here, end quote. Funny thing is, he said it in multiple interviews before that he's just, quote, happy to be here. Sami Zayn himself has said in multiple interviews on multiple media outlets that he's, quote, happy to be here. Believe it or not. So why would Sami get mad at Joe for saying something that Sami said himself in multiple interviews? It's something called inconsistency, people, and I get what you're saying. I can hear you loud and clear. But Mocha, wouldn't you be happy to be in the WWE? Yes, I would. I would be happy if I was reporting on behalf of the WWE, or for that matter, if I was not only just a reporter in the WWE, but also in any capacity whatsoever, as long as I wasn't working with two pieces of cancer that we will discuss here in just a second, who I can't get over the fact that everyone seems to love them for no reason. But see, I wouldn't be content with just being in the WWE. Understand what I'm saying is I would want more than that. And I made a list of things that Sami Zayn has yet to do in his 30 plus year career, 20 plus year career, it doesn't matter. The point is, he's never won an award given to him by anyone other than the fans, which means that if there's been a fan voted award, he's won most of them. Now, that's great if you're in a popularity contest, but this is not a popularity contest. This is a talent competition. A competition based upon one's talent, not based upon one's popularity. You can kiss babies and shake hands all that you want, but the fact is that if whenever that bell rings, whenever that light comes on and it's on you, you better perform at a 5-star level or else you sink. You have two options, as Triple H once put it: adapt or perish. So far, Sami Zayn has shown He's good at perishing, not too good at adapting, not too good at evolving. He said on multiple occasions, as he's shown time and time again, he has no passion for the business of professional wrestling. It almost seems extremely abundant, and seems to me, and I've made this argument before and I'll continue to make this argument again until I'm proven wrong, it almost seems to me that Zayn is here for nothing more than one thing, and that is a paycheck. If you want a paycheck, there's plenty more businesses you can go leech off of. He could probably go to. My point, of course, is being that it frustrates me to all ends of the earth that someone like me, who has a passion for this business, loves the business of professional wrestling despite its flaws. I'm not happy to be here, end quote. I'm ambitious. I want awards. Like I said, I made a list. I want awards, gold medals, certificates, merchandise sales, magazine covers, be in movies, posters, billboards, beyond late night shows, be trending on Twitter. But Sammy has only accomplished one of those things, and it's due in little part to him. It's due in little part to him being himself, or for that matter, a relatable character, because he's neither of those things. And Joe is... I can't say enough good things about Samoa Joe. Whether he's a bad guy or a good guy, the heel or the face, he's always been the star of the match he's been in. And for a big man to be so agile and powerful at the same time, to be 290 pounds to 310 pounds is scary. So, something that reminds me of Samoa Joe is a Japanese bullet train. Now, I watched an entire documentary, thanks to the History Channel, of Japanese bullet trains. For those of you who don't know, a Japanese bullet train is a train that is so big, so massive and so large, but yet it moves so fast. And it moves fast due in large part to the fact that, despite its size, of course, is what I mean to say, due in large part thanks to the aerodynamics that move it. So not only is the wind pushing it forward, but so is the train itself moving at a high rate of speed. And it moves so fast that it has to stop at least 110 feet before it reaches its destination, before it can even touch the station that it's going toward. Thanks in large part to the History Channel, I now know a lot about Japanese bullet trains. So thank you, History Channel. And by the way, this podcast is not sponsored by the History Channel. But I gave Joe's performance here 3 out of 5 stars. And for those of you wondering, Sami Zayn did a lot of standing around, a lot of looking goofy, a lot of looking stupid. Samoa Joe did a lot of dominating, a lot of I'm going to stay on top of you, I'm going to whoop your ass, I'm going to do this, and called Sammy stupid multiple times. Interview spot with Charlie Caruso. She asks Bayley if she is nervous coming into her match with Charlotte Flair, who happens to be undefeated in one-on-one pay-per-view matches. Nia Jax warns Bayley that later on tonight she's going to be ripping Bayley's best friend to shreds. And if by some miracle Charlotte doesn't beat Bayley, Nia Jax. She says, I'm coming for that Raw Women's Championship. So Bayley basically getting threatened by not only Charlotte, but also Nia Jax. And Bayley's best friend that I mentioned, they don't mention her by name until after the interview is over, Sasha Banks. Which, they've had that story going on for so long. Oh my god, Sasha and Bayley are best friends, and then all of a sudden, Sasha just turns on Bayley for no reason whatsoever, other than to just be number one. But Bayley never actually turns on Sasha, I don't think. I don't remember. Enzo and Cass out, and Enzo says, an unusual spill. It kind of reminds me of K-Quick back when the Road Dogg and K-Quick used to be a tag team. Even more modern day, the Acclaimed, or even the 90s, after the Road Dogg and K-Quick were together, whenever Road Dogg came back after being fired, which ultimately got K-Quick fired. Also, the NAO, New Aged Outlaws, Enzo was really entertaining back then. If you'll remember, Enzo used to come out and then he used to say the dumbest shit in the world. But basically, here, I'll go ahead and paraphrase what he did. Came out, he did his usual spiel, which was, my name is Enzo Amore, and I am a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here is Carmella, and she's hot as hell, and you can't teach that. And this right here is Big Cass, and he's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, realest guys in the room, how you doing? And then he'd go to the ring, and then after he would go to the ring, which in this case he did, he went to the ring, he comes out once again, and then he's like just doing those jiving dance moves, and you know, like he's a fucking autistic mosquito or something, and comes out, and then he starts talking about how the Good Brothers are the Mr. Clean Dream Team. How if you was to put them in a lineup together with the Spy Kids thumbs, that you couldn't tell them apart from a thumb. He starts talking about how they just suck, I guess, you know, how they're the Baldy twins, the Baldy brothers. He calls them cue ball at one point in time. He just basically lays it on thick and tries to make fun of them for being bald, but I mean, there's more to professional wrestling than just having a full head of hair. Oh shit. But the Raw Tag Team Championships are on the line as Enzo and Cass face off against the champions, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. 4 out of 5 stars. This match was exciting. This match was thrilling. Had me laughing both before and during. Entertainment at its finest level. They bring up the fact that the Good Brothers, the club, along with the Steiner Brothers and the Dudley Boys, are the only 3 teams in WWE history to ever win both the IWGP Tag Team Championships and the WWE Championships. It's interesting. So there's something else that Sami Zayn hasn't done. You know, like I said, I made a list. You know, and you thought that the list was over, but no, it ain't. This entire fucking broadcast will be a list of things that Sami Zayn hasn't done. I mean, it'll be passive, but you know, just pay attention for a list of things that Sami Zayn hasn't done. The WWE forgot to edit Dean Ambrose out of the commercial. Okay, never mind. I'm getting ahead of myself. a commercial for a mobile game that I still play to this day, WWE Champions. And if you don't know what it is, it's sort of like Tetris or Bejeweled or Be Blitzed or whatever. It's like one of those match 3, except with wrestling. Let me say that one again. With wrestling. Excuse me. Not with wrestling. Separated by a subclass, it goes by a color scheme, which also goes by a level. It sounds complicated, but it's sort of a match 3 type game with a health bar of your professional wrestler, depending upon what level that your wrestler is, depends upon how long that they will last in said wrestling match. WWE forgot to edit Dean Ambrose out of their commercial. I do sometimes miss the Dean Ambrose character, but I'm glad he's doing better things in AEW as Jon Moxley. I'm glad that he's happy, and that's what's important. Nia Jax is one of 3 women. If she wins here tonight, she will be... So, Nia Jax is one of 3 women, according to Michael Cole, that if she wins here tonight, she will be 4-0 in her career. Now, here's the funny part, caveat part, the part that they forgot to mention. The other 2 women, Charlotte Flair and the Fabulous Moolah. Oh, okay, one of 3 women. Yeah, okay, I already said that. I thought that I said one of 4 women. I'm sorry. One of 3 women who will start her career being 4-0. The other 2 women are Charlotte Flair and the Fabulous Moolah. They need to stop bringing up the Fabulous Moolah, and those of you wondering why, there was a documentary done about the Fabulous Moolah. It's called The Dark Side of the Ring, and it's an hour and 30 minutes long documentary. And understand that even as an old lady, she should not be revered as some hero or some pioneer of the women's revolution. She had a stronghold on the women's wrestling, and her husband, I do believe, sexually assaulted at least 6, maybe even more women. Go watch that documentary on YouTube. You'll see what I'm talking about, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And if you don't revere Chris Benoit as a hero, then you should probably do the same thing to the Fabulous Moolah and stop mentioning her. Charlotte Flair had just got done wrestling Sasha in a grueling Iron Man match when this happened. Nia Jax versus Sasha Banks. The crowd booing everything that Jax does. 2 out of 5 stars. Looks disappointing. Look of disappointment on Nia Jax's face. Sasha ends up picking up the victory in surprising fashion with a roll-up. All things. The announcer JoJo messed up the introduction to Nia Jax. Usually whenever you're introducing the women from the women's division, you have to say their name and where they're from. JoJo, on the other hand, thinks that it's necessary. On the other hand, it was necessary to say how much Nia Jax weighs. Apparently, at this time, it was 272 pounds. I'm not a fat shame or anything. She's a pretty big girl. I mean, so what you're supposed to do whenever the women come out to the ring, because usually it's kind of impolite to talk about weight toward a woman. Not sure why it's not impolite to talk about weight toward a man, but, I don't really make the freaking rules around here. The etiquette rules, if you will. But whenever Nia Jax comes out, JoJo says weighing 272 pounds. One thing that you should not let people know is a woman's weight. You know, hey, fat ass. You know, get on a treadmill. To me, petite women are beautiful. They are sexy. And I just do not like big girls. Thick girls. You know, ugh. Oh my God, man. I can't stand how, you know, people act like thin is in. Well, yeah, it is. So, you know, lay off the Twinkies. Unless you're getting big for, you know, God, this is such a hard topic to talk about. Moving on. As soon as I get done talking about how she messed up on Nia Jax's entrance, or at least her introduction, she gets it right with Sasha's. It's very rude to tell someone how much a woman weighs. Those kind of topics you don't talk about unless it's something that she's comfortable talking about. And for most women, it's something that they're not comfortable talking about, especially a fan base of over 2 million worldwide. Most of the match was just Sasha getting beat up only to win very quickly. 2 out of 5 stars. The crowd seemed to hate everything that Nia Jax did. Would also be Nia Jax's first pay-per-view loss in the WWE Raw brand, not counting NXT, which makes sense, seeing as though that if she was 4-0 like they said, or rather 3-0. Yeah, if she wins tonight, she will be 4-0. Okay, so she was 3-0. Apparently both Rusev and Jinder Mahal both wanted singles competition, so Mick Foley thinks that he has the perfect solution for their problem. Jinder Mahal and Rusev used to be a team, which I don't remember at all, but now it seems like they are in somewhat of a feud. Corey Graves and Michael Cole call Rusev handsome. I should say Corey Graves and Michael Cole call Rusev handsome without saying no homo first, which is something that Sami Zayn didn't do. Once again, we should add that to the list of things that Sami Zayn has not done. He's not been called handsome by Corey Graves or Michael Cole. So that's two strikes thus far. Cesaro versus Mahal, an entertaining contest, was fun to watch. Cesaro hits a Swiss 1-9. Not sure why that says a Swiss 19. Cesaro hits a beautiful crossbody from the top rope. Shout out to the gut wrench. Shout out to the gut wrench suplex, but sadly only gets a 1 count on Jinder. And shout out to the uppercut train that has left the station that morning, as Cesaro picks up a victory, and I give it 3 out of 5 stars. It was a pretty entertaining contest. Especially if you like, you know, a Swiss guy facing off against a, I want to call him an Indian, but I'm not sure whether or not that's racist. Do you think he's Indian, or do you think he's like Middle Eastern? Wait, is Indianapolis? No, that can't be right. Is India in the Middle East? You know, I am so confused. I thought that India was like an Asian country. Indian? Because don't they cook like curry and shit? You know, like, isn't like spicy foods a part of like Asian culture in some regard? I don't know. I don't have a map in front of me. Or maybe I do. Which is something else that Sami Zayn doesn't have. You know, a map in front of him. Then we get Rusev versus The Big Show. Now, this one was a little bit cut and dry. I'm going to put my notes down for a minute because I felt it extremely weird that, you know, Rusev would be a jobber to The Big Show. I felt as though that it should have been the other way around because Rusev is the younger talent. The Big Show's been here for a really long time. You know, he's been in the WWE for quite some time. And, you know, I don't know how to put it, but just to put it in regards of, hey, you know, you're going to go out there and make Rusev look really strong tonight, Big Show, because, you know, you're the 6'9" to 325 pound giant. So if Rusev beats Big Show, it makes Rusev look like he's an actual threat, you know? Whereas though if Big Show beats Rusev, you know, it's kind of like, I don't know. Big Show just, I mean, I knew that he could have, but where does Big Show go from here is what I'm trying to say. You know, what exactly does Big Show bring to the table that would have been brought to the table had Rusev would have won? Then Rusev would have had more bragging rights toward the United States Championship, or toward like, hey, you know, I beat the Big Show. Think of AJ Styles after he beat John Cena, for instance. After he beat Cena, he went around and then he basically just absolutely told people what he thought of them because he had the confidence to do so. And whenever he did, it made sense in story because AJ had a legitimate reason to be as cocky as he was, because anytime someone would look at him and then say, you know, AJ, I don't like your attitude, and then he would say, well, get used to it, because you see this? And then he would point to his arm or his headband, and he would say, I got a trophy for the last person that I beat, and if you want to be next in line, I say go for it. Because, of course, he would always have John Cena's headband wrapped around either his shoulder or his head, or it was his armband or something. It's not important. The important part is AJ had, like, almost like whenever you kill a bear, you take its pelt, you know, because, or you skin it, and then you wear its fur as a coat, because that's a prize. That's something that you did, you earned it. And that's exactly what AJ Styles did. And I'm using AJ as an example because he's a shining example of what to do. And by the way, Sami Zayn will never be on the level of AJ Styles. I'm dropping bombs over here. I'm talking, if Sami Zayn was a fucking island, you can consider me the atomic bomb. If Sami Zayn was COVID-19, you can consider me the cure. Has it landed yet? Huh, Brandon? Has it landed yet? If Sami Zayn is a dartboard, consider me the dart that hits the target. Time and time and time again. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just getting started. This is the Gut Wrench Podcast. This is episode 73. My name is Mocha, and I'm not going to stop until I get what I want. As Batista would say, give me what I want. Anyway, USA chants from the crowd. The Big Show lost. Wait, that can't be right. Oh, okay. Never mind. Hang on. Let me run that one back. The Big Show lost 70 pounds. And he's got a lot more leaner. I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at the next. That's on me. I wasn't looking at the next line in my notes. The Big Show lost. I was like, what? That can't make sense. He wins this match. The Big Show lost 70 pounds, and he's got a lot more leaner, and he's got more endurance. It looks as though both Jinder Mahal and Rusev are both jobbers on this night. The Big Show picks up the victory after 3 choke slams and a knockout punch. A nice slow match. Was fast paced at times, but not a lot of the match was fast paced. A lot of it was really slow and you know, I mean, it was just 2 bulls fighting. 2.5 out of 5 stars. A KFC commercial about the honey mustard barbecue wings called the Georgia Gold from Enzo and Cass. Can you guess what I'm going to say next? Because that's something else. And the commercial's not from Sami Zayn. It's just something else that Sami Zayn hasn't done or won't do. A commercial from KFC. I'm sure whenever they were doing the casting call, the last person that they called in was Sami Zayn, and then he was like, okay, what's my line? And then they were like, okay, retard, here's your line. And then he was like, Georgia Gold, the KFC wings. I want my mommy. Because he knows just how autistic he's acting. So I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen, in advance if I come off as a little bit toxic at times. However, if you do enjoy the content, I would appreciate a 5-star rating. Please don't hesitate to give me a 5-star rating. I think I deserve it, and I'm not going to say that my opinion is the only one that matters, because obviously your opinion matters. But see, here's the problem with that. There's only 2 ratings that you can give me. 1 star or a 5-star rating, because nobody in their right mind actually says, well, I enjoy this, but I don't think that he deserves 5 stars, 3 stars, you know, like no one says that. It's either 1 or 5. Anything between 2 and 4, no one ever goes to. Which boggles my mind. Why are they options if no one ever goes to them? Like, who's actually going to give you... Who's actually going to give you the 3 stars? There you go. You know. Give you a rating. I liked it, but I didn't love it. You know what I mean? Think about it. A KFC commercial. Oh, okay. WrestleMania countdown. 28 days to Flo Rida's Green Light. Or Pitbull. It's one of the two. Like, because either one of them or both of them or Kid Rock was playing at this particular WrestleMania. They stopped numbering them, so it's hard for me to keep up with which one that it is. Used to, they had a number after every Mania, which I thought was kind of cute. And I especially thought that it was kind of cute whenever, you know, WrestleMania 15 was done, and the next thing I knew, the next WrestleMania after WrestleMania 15 was WrestleMania 2000, which I thought, huh? That can't be right. WrestleMania 2000. I thought to myself, damn, they're skipping a lot, ain't they? But I didn't realize it at the time. The year was 2000. Can you imagine the look on my mind-boggled face whenever I didn't realize that the next WrestleMania after WrestleMania 16 was going to be WrestleMania 17? Except they didn't even call it that. They called it X7. Oh, brother. You know, shit. I don't know. 28 days to Flo Rida's song Green Light that Sami Zayn was not included in. Um, Owens made a 0.3 second appearance, though. He did. He was included in the montage of WrestleMania's the Flow Riders. Give me the green light, 'cause I'm ready to go, 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 oh, yo, yo. And I mean, if you're into that type of music, you know, the type of music with mouth noises, like Bobby McFerrin, then sure. I mean, give you the green light, I guess. What if I gave him the red light, though? What if I told him to stop, you know? You know, like Michael Jordan in those fucking McDonald's commercials? Stop it. Get some help. Those were always funny. Kevin Owens does what he always does. He cuts off the interviewer before they can finish their question. So Kevin Owens is being interviewed. Let's see how good that this goes. Okay, so the first question that Charlie Caruso wanted to ask him, but he cut her off, was something along the lines of, Kevin, are you nervous coming into your match with Goldberg? And then he sort of like cuts her off and takes the mic from her, and then he's like, why should I be nervous? Huh? Why don't you answer me a question? Well, why is everybody all of a sudden just hopping on Goldberg's dick? You know, it like he was. And then I'm like, dude, if you would have just calmed down and maybe if you would have just let the woman answer, like he asked a lot of unnecessary questions, and I'm about to point out all of the inconsistencies in his interview. Can you imagine me pointing out inconsistencies in someone's interview? Oh man, I can't. For those of you not aware, I had a field day here. It's kind of fun. She was probably going to ask you, how are you feeling? But instead you cut her off and ask her a question. She wasn't even going to ask him. So, Kevin Owens asks Charlie Caruso, and he expects an answer from her because he's the one conducting the interview now. I guess, you know the Captain... Oh man, what's the name of that? It was a short-lived movie that Tom Hanks was in, and Tom Hanks was in this movie where the guy comes in and then he says, "Look at me, look at me," and then he goes, "I am the captain now." That's how I feel like. That's how I feel like Kevin Owens was doing to Charlie Caruso here. He is the captain now. He gives the interviews. He's just going to interview himself while looking in the mirror. In the last decade, Goldberg has beaten one man one time, and apparently Kevin Owens is not impressed. He says, "But I'm not impressed." It's like, why would that matter, though? The funny part is, Kevin Owens gets to do an interview with Charlie Caruso, but Bill Goldberg doesn't. Why? He's the challenger. You should have asked him how he felt about facing Kevin Owens. But it's fine, it's fine. And a lot of you are probably scratching your head wondering, why are we even looking at a Kevin Owens match in the first place? But don't worry. There's a simple answer to that. There's a very, very simple answer to that. Kevin Owens loses in the main event of Fastlane 2017 in record time. So, I don't even have to... I don't mean to give away the ending that we're about to discuss or anything like that, but after the Charlotte Bayley match, but we'll get to that here in just a minute. I don't mean to spoil the ending or anything like that, but I don't even have to, like, rate the match itself. All I have to do is rate Goldberg's performance, just like I did Samoa Joe. I rated his performance, and I didn't even rate the entire match. He's giving the person interviewing him attitude. Kevin Owens is treating his interview spot like he's the one who's giving the interview to the interviewer. He keeps asking her irrelevant questions. Also, he says on his quote list of accomplishments, that list is very low, believe it or not. Also, he's wearing a suit like he came here for a verbal debate instead of gym shorts or merchandise or wrestling gear. Also, he's wearing a suit to look professional as a champion, but if he wanted to look even more professional, he should have shaved that rat off of his face. Just like I bet all the other guys before. So Kevin Owens in his interview, he says, just like I beat all the other guys before. End quote. Who is all the other guys before? Why are you being so generic about it? Why can't you list? I'm giving you guys lists. Fucking laundry lists of things that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are just terrible at, but he can't mention his opponents by name. He can't say who he's beat or who he hasn't beat, which he ultimately did. Yeah, I mean, they did it, WWE did it, he didn't, Kevin Owens didn't. There was a hype package before the match. He had beaten Dean Ambrose, he had beaten Roman Reigns, he had beaten Brock Lesnar, he had beaten Chris Jericho. He just went on and on and on. And then Goldberg's side got showed to, I'm doing this for the kids. My wife and my son. It's funny. Two different sides. You know what Dr. Phil says? No matter how flat you make a pancake, there's always two sides. Anyway, Kevin Owens says the reason he's Universal Champion is because I'm the best. Pretty shallow reasoning, if you ask me, to be the champion. But Austin Aries also has something to say about that. So, the next match on the card is has Austin Aries being in guest host as commentary, or commentary for being a guest host. A guest on commentary. Shut up. I fluffed that line 3 times. Austin Aries says everybody wants to be the best. The problem with that is you're only the best until someone better comes around. So Kevin just got done saying that I'm the best. That's the reason he's the Universal Champion, is because he's the best. And Austin Aries just got done saying the problem with that is that whenever you're the best, you're just the best until someone better comes around. That's why Austin's always preferred to be great. In the last interview that we just watched, Kevin Owens just called himself the best. I guess the problem with that is someone better just came around. WWE Cruiserweight Championship, as the champion Neville defends against Jack Gallagher. Neville in one-on-one pay-per-view matches is 4-0 at this time. Cole calls an avalanche German suplex a superplex. Neville with a beautiful snap suplex only gets a 2 count off of the pin with a stunning stunningly beautiful, picture perfect missile drop kick. The challenger from the champion. A phenomenal Phoenix splash from Neville only to get a near fall. 2 headbutts, and the champion falls to the ground. Neville kicks out at the last 0.2 of the 3 count. That one had me on the edge of my seat. He did Jack Gallagher did what Drew McIntyre calls the Glasgow kiss. A beautiful headbutt on the champion in the top turnbuckle, hits a red arrow, a flip, corkscrew flip to get the win. 4 out of 5 stars. This is awesome chants. Begin. But after they begin, around 5 minutes later, the match ends. The New Day comes out. A group made up of 3 men: Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, Big E Langston. They have an ice cream machine, or an ice cream truck. It's not a truck or a machine. It's sort of a bicycle. It's got like ice cream, the ice freezer, I guess you could call it. Corey Graves tells Byron Saxton to go onto the ring ramp and play speed bump, basically telling him to go get run over by their bicycle that they've got. The only joke that I can think of, because the episode is kind of themed around it. Oh, okay, yeah. So that's something else that Sami Zayn will never have. New Day has New Day ice cream, and Sami Zayn will never have that. And if we're being canonical about it, where are our CM Punk bars? Please tell me. I mean, come on, guys. CM Punk thought of it first, which brings up a good point. CM Punk, despite being in the company for years, he was never in any of their mobile games. Don't believe me? That's fine. You don't have to believe me. He's not in WWE Supercards. I mean, I've played them all. I've tried to find him. He's not a playable character, or for that matter, he's not featured in the opening of WWE Champions, the mobile game, or not even the opening is what I shouldn't say, but, you know, whenever you open the game, there's a poster of just all the superstars that are featured, or not all, but most of them, most of the 5-star wrestlers that, and I call them 5-star because there's different units at different rarities, so you could get a 3-star Bayley, or a 4-star Sasha Banks, or a 3-star Sasha Banks and a 4-star Bayley. You could get like a 2-star Shawn Michaels or a 3-star Shawn Michaels. You get where this is going. And they're all at different rarities. They could be at bronze, they could be at silver, and they could be at gold. But the point that I'm trying to make is, even though Luke Gallows is in there, who, if you'll remember correctly, was a part of the SES, the Straight Edge Society, CM Punk is the only member of the Straight Edge Society, aside from, I think her name was Serena. So, yeah. She's not in there either, but, I mean, she's doing things over in AEW as well, so that just makes sense. You Suck chants, directed toward Roman. You Suck chants, directed toward Roman. Braun Strowman is a force of nature. He comes off as just a generic big guy number 1 or default character. If you were a wrestling game and all you cared about was big, strong, brainless characters, you would pick Braun Strowman. Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman is our next contest. Braun Strowman wants more competition after going through a tear in the WWE where he's practically winning all of his matches. All of the all of the time he finally gets what he wanted, to get to the point he wanted to look back at January. To get to this point, we had to look back at January of 2017 when Braun Strowman cost Roman Reigns the Universal Championship against Kevin Owens, and afterwards he did not get punished for interfering on a match that had nothing to do with him. Instead, he got rewarded somewhat because he got exactly what he asked for, exactly what he wanted. Braun Strowman really comes off as just a generic big guy, at times a bully. If he had more personality or any sort of backstory, maybe, or if he had someone to come out and give him a backstory that somehow some sort of that's how I learned of Johnny Gargano, because Shawn Michaels talked about him. Not even 6 minutes into the match, Braun Strowman keeps flexing and yelling at Roman. So basically, all of the match consisted of was every time that Roman Reigns would try to punch Braun right in his head or something, Braun Strowman would just go, "Roar! Ooh, me big man, me big caveman," and punch shit, I guess. Spinebuster to Roman, a veil across the ring. Michael Cole calls Braun Strowman thick. 3.5 out of 5 stars. This match didn't start off too entertaining and very slow, and was not a lot of story or depth goes into why these two are fighting. A lot of while they are fighting has to do with why Braun Strowman is looking for what he calls competition. But before he got this match with Roman, he was mostly facing up against guys who were much smaller than him. And keep in mind that he's like 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", 280, 290 pounds. It had some good highlights. Bayley versus Charlotte. Bayley has, for all intensive purposes, had a dream since she's been 12 years old. A dream that I once had. If anything, Bayley is a relatable character, which is more than I can say for Sami Zayn. A lot of you are asking yourself, was this episode just an excuse to bury Sami Zayn? I hope he hears it. I really do. Because god damn, would that be so cool? I bet it would get under his skin. Which is more than I can say for Sami Zayn. Finally did it. She realized her dream. She finally did it. She finally realized her dream to become WWE Women's Champion 3 weeks ago from this pay-per-view date, when she beat Charlotte Flair, who they're calling the Queen of Pay-per-views, events rather, because she is undefeated in one-on-one competition, so the odds in her favor, and Bayley is painted as an underdog champion. The story has layers because in NXT, 2/4 of the group known as the Four Horsewomen, collectively made up of Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, Becky, and Bayley. 2 or 3 weeks ago, we did look at NXT respect, where Bayley and Sasha Banks performed what I gave a 5 out of 5 star performance, which is more than I can say for Sami Zayn. And in that performance, was an Iron Man match, collectively known as the first ever Iron Woman match in wrestling history. Charlotte is 16-0. 16 wins and 0 losses in pay-per-view one-on-one matches before this match starts. Bayley is technically cheating because during the match, surprisingly, the referee hasn't thrown the match out just yet. During the contest, Sasha Banks comes out and attacks one of the participants in Charlotte Flair. That would be cause for disqualification. But the referee doesn't throw it out for whatever reason. I'm assuming that the pay-per-view event really doesn't call for a disqualification finish. In professional wrestling, it is also practiced to sometimes use your opponent's tights or their singlet or their leotard for leverage when going for a pinning predicament. That's exactly what Charlotte Flair was doing. And granted, while it's against the rules, it's sometimes used as a story-driven element so that the other wrestler, the other participant, will go on a gripe when they lose the match, telling their opponent that the only way that they could beat them is by, quote, cheating. If that's the case, and I'm being completely transparent and honest and unbiased, which I always am, let's be honest, Charlotte using the tights here is a much lower offense than having your friend come out and attack one of the other participants in the wrestling match, in the wrestling contest taking place. I don't really know if there's ever been a case of someone getting disqualified because they got caught cheating by grabbing the other participant's wrestling tights. But I know for a fact that someone getting someone else to attack their opponent being a participant in the wrestling match, where the other person is not a participant in said wrestling match, in a one-on-one competition, in a one-on-one contest, being a participant for one of the wrestling matches has gotten someone disqualified for a wrestling match. So what I'm saying is, if me and you are, the both of us, having a wrestling match, and you get your friend to attack me, and the referee sees that, but he does nothing about it, which in this case that happened. Sasha Banks attacked Charlotte Flair on Bayley's behalf, but they keep saying Bayley didn't see it. Bayley didn't see it. And even if Bayley didn't see it, the referee surely seen it. My point, of course, being is that if you're Charlotte Flair right now and I'm Sasha, let's just go ahead and do the whole swap. I'm Sasha and the champion is your best friend. I'm sorry, my best friend. What happens is, if I'm caught like I was by the referee attacking someone who's participating in a wrestling match that has nothing to do with me, I know for a fact that the referee had every right to, say, hey, no, we're not going to do that, and throw the match out. However, if he doesn't throw out the match, and later on in the match, let's say 3 minutes goes by, and you get caught cheating, instead of me this time, you get caught cheating because you grabbed my wrestling tights and you were using them as leverage and the supposed best friend that I have points that out. You know? Isn't that sort of the pot calling the kettle black? Because the best friend who was just cheating on my behalf caught you cheating and told the authority about it. See? You're not allowed to cheat. But I am. Hopefully that made sense, because to me it did. And that's what's important. I give it 3 out of 5 stars. This match had some pretty good highlights, and I feel as though that it should have ended a little differently, but I guess the story-driven purposes, it had to end the way that it did. Bayley retains her championship. Good for her. And now we go to the Universal Championship match. Now, I meant to look at Dave Meltzer's, maybe we'll do that live, Dave Meltzer's review for this wrestling match. Let me go ahead and do that now. Just give me 1 second here. Payback 2017 main event. Because a lot of people have, they're like, oh, I care so much about what Dave Meltzer thinks, I care so much about Payback. No, I didn't say Payback. Well, apparently I did. Psh. Didn't mean to say that. Come on, guys. What are you doing? You guys are over here trying to get me to mess up again, ain't you? I meant to say Fast Lane. Okay, so we're going to look at Dave Meltzer's review of Fastlane. Oh, okay, well, I didn't look at that. And then we're going to compare it to our own review, because a lot of people care about... Wow. Okay, so he gave Cesaro versus Jinder Mahal 1.5 stars. He gave Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax 2 2.25 of a star? What the fuck? Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn, he gave 2.5 stars. I gave it 3 stars. Big Show versus Rusev, he gave 2 stars. Neville versus Jack Gallagher, he gave 3.5 stars. Roman versus Braun Strowman, he gave 4 stars. Oh my god, that was so boring. How could he give that? Oh, he gives the match after it, though, Bayley versus Charlotte, 3 stars. And Bill Goldberg versus Kevin Owens, he called a dud. It literally says DUD here. he said no. Well, here's what I did. I did something different. I thought that was wow, he called it a dud. A lot of people care about what Dave Meltzer thinks, for those of you who don't. Goldberg beat Brock Lesnar in 1 minute 26 seconds at Survivor Series, which is something that Sami Zayn will never say that he has done, or for that matter, it's something that Zayn will never do. Kevin Owens, when he first got to the WWE, made himself a promise that he was going to grab the company by the throat and make them see what Kevin Owens is all about. Truth is, he hasn't done that. I have yet to see or experience anything substantially great from Kevin Owens. He's done is rip people off and showcase nothing but mediocrity. time and time again on a consistent basis. He's never very entertaining at all. I would rather chop a bowl of onions while in a room filled with tear gas than watch Kevin Owens' wrestling match. I would rather be penetrated in the ass by a horse whose dick is 12 feet long than watch a Kevin Owens match. So a lot of you might be asking yourself, why are you watching this Kevin Owens match if that's true? Well, of course, it's to embarrass him. And of course, it's to remind everyone of the night when Goldberg beat Kevin Owens in under 60 seconds, and to laugh and let people know what the score is. Gut Wrench Podcast 1, Kevin Owens 0. Kevin Owens says, "You're next in the evolution of Kevin Owens in Universal Champion." I'm curious to know what evolution that he's referring to, talking about, because in my experience, and I've talked about this on many other platforms before, Kevin Owens has a lack of evolution in his character arc. So, really, the evolution in his character, so it's really funny to me that he would bring up few points of things that don't exist for his character arc. So yeah, here's what happens. The bell rings. Chris Jericho's music hits. Afterwards, well, Kevin Owens was distracted, and Bill Goldberg picks him up after a spear and jackhammers him. If you don't know what the jackhammer is, it's basically Bill Goldberg's go-to wrestling move. And in under 24 seconds, Kevin Owens loses his Universal Championship shot. And like I said, Dave Meltzer calls it a dud. He doesn't even give it a star rating, he just writes dud beside of it. That's hilarious. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mocha. I'm sorry that this is up on a Monday rather than usually when it's up on a Saturday. Like I said, Walmart really takes the cake for, the worst employee of the month. Or employer of the month. I'm going to try to have an episode out by Saturday. Thank you all so much for joining me. Now that this is over, I guess we should start counting down until episode 100, because believe it or not, we're actually almost 3/4 of the way there. So thank you all so much for joining me. My name is Mocha. You've been listening to the Gut Wrench Podcast, which is something else that Sami Zayn will never do. He'll never... I don't want to say that he'll never have a podcast, because, he might actually do that, because a lot of washed up wrestlers end up doing that. Take a look at Kevin Nash, Bruce Pritchard, who I think used to be Brother Love, or I could be wrong. Eric Bischoff. I really can't think of any more, but Jim Cornette, he calls it the Cornette experience. I'm not sure why. It's not much of an experience if you ask me, but I guess if you're into that type of shit. thank you all so much for joining me. I've been extremely happy that you decided to join me. Also, a huge shout out to this is really unprofessional, but the Late Night Wrestling Pod. That's right. Huge shout out to the Late Night Wrestling Pod. I seen a sticker. I'm sure I already said this, but I seen a sticker on my way coming home from work about 10 minutes before my shift ended. It said, "Let's go, Brandon." So I'm sure that they're talking about the NASCAR driver, though. NASCAR. We already made that joke. My name is Mocha. This has been the Gut Wrench Podcast. And, good night, everybody. And, that's a wrap.